What if I told you that one of the most iconic gods in Norse mythology was a mother? That the god of mischief, chaos, and fire, Loki, once turned into a female horse and gave birth? Sounds wild? Welcome to the world of forbidden mythology, where gender was never set in stone and transformation was divine. Today, we dive into the gods who transcended gender and why Loki may just be the most fascinating of them all. Loki, trickster, schemer, friend and foe of the gods. But beyond the mischief and illusions lies something deeper. Loki is one of the earliest and clearest examples of a gender-fluid deity. In the prose Edda, we're told Loki can take any form: a fish, a bird, an old woman, even animals. But one story stands out. When a mysterious builder offered to construct a mighty wall around Asgard in exchange for the sun, the moon, and Freya, the gods agreed, but only if he finished in time. They thought it impossible. But the builder had help, a supernatural stallion named Svadilfari. As the wall neared completion, the gods panicked. Who messed up? Surprise! It was Loki. So what did he do? He transformed into a female horse, a mare in heat. He lured away the builder's stallion and disappeared for days. And when he returned, Loki was pregnant. Soon after, he gave birth to Sleipnir, the legendary eight-legged horse, the fastest in all the realms, gifted to Odin himself. Let that sink in. A male god gave birth to a magical horse that became the ride of the All-Father. Loki's gender bending isn't just about deception, it's transformation, identity, and power. In some Old Norse sources, Loki is described as behaving like a woman. In others, he appears in female form not just for disguise, but for function, sometimes even pleasure. Today, many see Loki as a symbol of gender fluidity and even transgender identity. While the Vikings didn't have those words, their myths clearly allowed gods to be more than just male or female. And Loki is not alone. Tiresias, Greek mythology, immortal but legendary. Tiresias was transformed into a woman for 7 years after striking a pair of mating snakes. He lived, loved, and even married as a woman. Later, he was turned back into a man. The gods trusted him to understand both genders, even settling a divine argument between Zeus and Hera. Ardhanarishvara, Hindu mythology. A form of Shiva fused with his consort Parvati, literally half man, half woman. The body is split down the middle, one side masculine, the other feminine. Ardhanarishvara symbolizes balance, unity, and the power that comes from embracing both energies. Hermaphroditus, Greek mythology. Child of Hermes and Aphrodite. When he merged with the nymph Salmacis, they became one body, both male and female. This divine fusion is where the word hermaphrodite originates. Inari, Japanese mythology. The kami of rice, fertility, and prosperity. Inari is sometimes male, sometimes female, and often depicted as genderless or androgynous. Shape-shifting foxes are Inari's messengers, often symbols of ambiguity and spiritual transformation. These myths are ancient, but they tell a very modern truth. Gender is not always fixed, it's not always binary, and in many ancient cultures, fluidity was divine. Agdistis/Cybele, Phrygian and Greco-Roman myth. Agdistis was born with both male and female traits. The gods, fearing the power of this dual-gender being, castrated them. From the blood, Cybele was born, a powerful earth goddess. Her priests, the Galli, practiced ritual castration to serve her, possibly living as trans-feminine figures in ancient times. Dionysus, Greek mythology, the god of fluid identity. Dionysus, the god of wine, ecstasy, and divine madness, was never just one thing. Born from Zeus and sewn into his thigh after his mortal mother died, Dionysus had an unusual beginning and an even more fluid life. In some myths, he was raised dressed as a girl to hide him from danger. He is described as effeminate, androgynous, and surrounded by a cult where men danced like women, wore flowing robes, and broke gender norms in his name. Dionysus wasn't just a party god. He embodied transgression, fluidity, and the divine in between. Ishtar, Shaushka, Mesopotamian mythology, the goddess who changed genders. Ishtar, or Shaushka in the Hurrian tradition, was the goddess of love, war, and transformation. She had the power to turn men into women and women into men. In her temples, there were priests known as Gala, who were assigned male at birth but lived and served as women. Some were castrated, some wore makeup and feminine clothing, and all were sacred to Ishtar. Her gender-blurring power wasn't taboo, it was divine magic. Ngalyod, the rainbow serpent, the androgynous creator. From Aboriginal Australian mythology, Ngalyod, the rainbow serpent, is one of the oldest gods on Earth. Ngalyod controls water, life, fertility, and transformation, and has been described as male, female, or both depending on the region and story. Among the Yolngu and Kuninjaku people, Ngalyod represents cycles, unity, and gender fluidity. The rainbow itself is seen as a bridge between the masculine and feminine, a sacred spectrum. Ngalyod didn't just create life, they embodied all forms of it. From Norse sagas to Hindu scriptures, from Greece to Japan, the gods themselves were queer-coded, gender-bending, and sometimes outright trans. It challenges the idea that non-binary or trans identities are new. In fact, they're older than most civilizations. Loki didn't just break rules, Loki broke gender. And in doing so, gave birth to a legacy and a horse that still gallops through myth today. So next time someone tells you gender fluidity is unnatural, remind them the gods were doing it thousands of years ago. And Loki? Loki gave birth to an 8-legged horse and didn't even blink. What you've just heard was never meant to reach you. This isn't just mythology. These are echoes of forbidden truths, buried, rewritten, or erased entirely. And if you're still watching, it means you feel it too. That something about the official version of history doesn't add up. This was forbidden mythology, where ancient stories become decoded messages and the gods might not be who they say they are. If you're ready to keep pulling the thread, to dive deeper into the shadows of forgotten knowledge, subscribe now. Hit the bell, not just for updates, but to stay connected to the secrets they don't want you to see. Drop a comment below. Tell me, what myths do you think are hiding something? What stories have always felt off? Because here we don't just tell stories, we unmask them. See you in the next chapter, if you're brave enough to open it.